Patients having a treatment, as I've already said, were expected to stay 4 to 6 weeks. First 2 weeks they were not allowed out of the hospital, so that they rested over the weekend, apart from doing their ward exercises and possibly some weights and things like that, which we used to take down on a trolley, leave in the ward. As a special privilege, at the end of 2 weeks they were allowed to have the weekend leave if they could go home, but the idea was that they were going to rest and have recreation away from their household chores and their responsibilities at home, and have a complete relaxation. And they were also going to benefit by seeing other people from suffering from arthritis, and realise that they were not the only pebble on the beach with arthritis, and that we didn't have, as we have in nowadays, lots of education classes, although we did do a lot of education in our normal exercise, hand class and those sorts of things. We did do a lot of education as to how to deal with flares and how to deal with problems, and how to progress exercises and things like that. It was in much later days, when Peter Jones came, that we got on to doing, Jeremy Jones first, and then later Peter Jones, that we got on to doing exercise programs and education programs, which are now more the norm rather than actual physiotherapy. When I can remember Jeremy Jones coming to work as consultant and superintendent, or whatever you would like to call him, at QE, and I can remember him coming down to see me one day when he was planning to come. He'd come over for an interview from England, and he was coming, and I was in the middle of some major crisis of no towels or something or other in the hydrotherapy department, and he came and I was introduced to him, and I excused myself from whatever I was doing, came and talked to him, and then he asked me politely, what was this major catastrophe that I was trying to deal with, and I explained to him that we'd run out of towels, or with the towels had done something or other, and we I think in actual fact what had happened is somebody had turned the wrong taps on in the hydrotherapy department outside, and the water had turned black, so we had black spotted patients, and we also had black spotted towels, which was going to be a major problem. And he said, well, what was I going to do about it? And I said, well, just hope and pray that when you become medical superintendent, you'll deal with it for me, which really upset him. But anyway, he did come. And that was a big start of the change, because he said he knew nothing about physiotherapy. And he would, when he came, he would just refer patients for physio, and it will be up to the physios themselves to do the assessments and to sort out what they were going to do in the way of treatments. And that stage, that was a big step forward in the fact that the physios could alter treatments, try treatments, and do exactly what they felt was the right thing to do for that particular patient. We were still mainly on the exercise routine, and most of the palliative treatments were done down in hydrotherapy. So that was a big step forwards and a big alteration. But if we wanted, and we did discuss in staff meetings how to change, we got sick of doing one sort of class exercises, foot exercise or something. So we would all sit down for weeks on end discussing the wording of these exercise routines, and we would read them out to each other and try and work out to simplify and make the exercises simple, that there could be no ambiguity as to what we meant by saying one thing, what we meant by saying another, so that people couldn't mistake. And we had a big filing cabinet, drawers of all these exercise routines, and we did an assessment and measurements of every joint when the patient came in, and we did another one at the end, so that we could say that there was improvement or there wasn't improvement, or what had changed. Then later on, as that progressed onwards, we introduced, or the hospital introduced, education programs, and patients with osteoarthritis, patients with rheumatoid arthritis, were introduced to a 4 or 6 week course of education program, and they would spend a week of that time, so perhaps with a couple of hours in the afternoon, 6 or 8 of them just learning and talking. Sometimes there was a nurse there, sometimes there was a doctor there, physios, OTs, talking about the various aspects of treatment, and what they could do and how they could deal with it at home on their own. And again, this was a big step forwards. I personally feel that at the moment it's overtaken too much, and that the actual physio part has taken to a back step, that too many people are educated in their condition and what they can do about it, and then just left to get on with it, instead of being given the time to actually work their way through it and learn that treatment and physio and exercise can help. Because it's all very well to talk about it, it's all very well to pin the label and the notices that say do this, do this, do this, and read it, but you don't actually get into the routine of doing it unless you've done it under supervision for some time and it's become part of norm.